Good evening, Shawsheen parents, freshman parents. We have an informational night for you, and we want to spend a little time together going over sort of what freshmen will experience at the beginning of their experience here at Shawsheen. And we have some people that are all pitching in to the cause to help us meet the needs of your freshmen on a daily basis. So we have myself, I'm Jeff Albert. I am the Director of Student Services. We have Greg Bendel here, who is the freshman class advisor. And we also have Mrs. Stevens and Mrs. Santiago, and they are the Shawsheen Parent Advisory Council member co-presidents, who are also going to share a little bit about their organization, what their mission is, and the hard work that they do to help the Shawsheen community. So without further ado, I would like to have Greg Bendel sort of talk to us in his role as the freshman advisor.
Thank you, Jeff, and good evening, everybody. As mentioned, my name is Greg Bendel. It's pleased to be with all of you here tonight. Just briefly about myself, I'm in my 15th year as an instructional technologist here at the school. I'm also the district's webmaster and social media advisor. And during the day, I teach 9th grade digital literacy. So I know I have a lot of your children in my classes during the day. So I am also extremely excited to be your son and daughter's class advisor. And that's why I'm here tonight. This is my second go around as class advisor. I worked with the class of 2014 along with my co-advisor, Mr. Jay Tilsley, and we had a great group of kids, which culminated with the senior prom at Gillette Stadium. We had a fantastic time, and I have the same high hopes for this group as well. So I'm really excited to work with the class of 2025 when it comes to planning their social events while here at Shawsheen. We'll be holding our first meeting of the year on Friday, October 1st. That's next Friday during homeroom in the school auditorium. All students are welcome and encouraged to attend to get involved. We'll be discussing our upcoming school pep rally, homecoming events, and future fundraising ideas, as well as our community service project that we'll be taking on for this coming year. So if your child is interested in getting involved in planning events, taking a leadership role, fundraising for future proms, or becoming a class officer, or even running for class president, I'd strongly encourage them to join us at our first meeting next Friday, October 1st in the school auditorium. Again, that's during homeroom, and all are welcome to attend. Lastly, I want to encourage all of you to follow us on Instagram at Shawsheen 2025 for the class news and information for upcoming events. Thank you for the time, and I really look forward to working with this great group of kids. There's been a lot of positive energy so far from the class of 2025. Looking forward to building on it and having it continue over the next 4 years. So pleased to be with all of you. Thank you, Jeff, for the time, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bendel. Now we're going to turn it over to Mrs. Santiago and Mrs. Stevens.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Faith Stevens, and this is Danielle Santiago. We are co-presidents of the Shawsheen Tech Parent Advisory Council. We are a volunteer organization of parents, and we are blessed to actually have 2 parents of graduates who stay with us. And we work primarily to raise funds for each graduating class to have a celebration. Traditionally, it has been an overnight celebration to make sure that the kids have a way to safely have an overnight celebration after graduation. With COVID, this has had to change, but we are still committed to, if we're not able to have that traditional celebration this year, we are committed to having something just as good for them. Last year, we made it a field day, and we will see what this year holds. That said, we, as I mentioned, are a volunteer organization. We are always looking for help in many capacities, and we are definitely looking for new faces to come join us. Our meetings are here in the Shawsheen Tech cafeteria the first Tuesday of every month. Our next one will be October 5th, and we would love to see you there. We have a Facebook page that's simply titled Shawsheen Tech Parent Advisory Council. We would love for you to like that page and follow it. We like to post plenty of information, not specifically just to the Parent Advisory Council, but also school-wide information. So that is a good resource for families. And we also have another page, the Shawsheen Tech community page. So we're looking forward to seeing and hearing from you in the future, and wishing all the best to the class of 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Okay, freshman parents, welcome again. So again, my name is Jeff Albert, and I am the Director of Support Services or Student Services here at Shawsheen. And under that umbrella of Student Services, we have Special Education Guidance in the nurse's office. This is my second year at Shawsheen, and I'm really excited to be able to report that it felt great to come here under more routine and normal conditions. I came to Shawsheen last August in the middle of this pandemic, and you know, with that being said, you don't get the full experience of what Shawsheen is really all about, because there's an energy in this building by just the way that we rally around kids, and the way that the staff interacts with each other, and the buzz in the hallways, and you know, the different activities happening in the building. I missed all that as in my first year. So I was relieved to see that we were able to open the year up and experience it in a more normal fashion. And I have to say, the year is off, you know, given that we're still in this pandemic, I feel like we're still, we're still masking up and we're still taking precautions, but we're able to give this class of 2025 a more normal transition to Shawsheen Tech. And I find that to be just very important for their ability to sort of feel what our community is all about. So with that being said, I want to start off by letting you all know, that we're going to follow what our mission statement outlines. And our mission here at Shawsheen is really to provide a positive learning experience that feels safe and encourages all students to really use their full potential. With that, we emphasize a strong and valuable work ethic that will prepare them for adult life in the competitive world. So I really want to welcome you, parents and guardians of the freshman class. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening as we take some time to share this important information with you and share ways in which we support our students. During our time together this evening, if you have a question, please type it in the chat. We will take some time at the end of the presentation to answer your questions. At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce Miss Angela Caira. She is your child's guidance counselor for their freshman year at Shawsheen. Angela, it's all you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. Thank you very much. And welcome, class of 2025 parents and guardians. It's so great to be with you this evening. And if any of our freshmen are out there right now, hello, it's Miss Caira, and it's good to see you virtually. I'm glad that you hopped on with your parents and guardians to participate in this event, if that's the case. Mr. Albert, just described the climate of the building and the class and the energy that they've brought in. They are certainly an ambitious group. We can tell already. They're excited to be here. They're optimistic, and we certainly share that optimism. So thank you, first of all, for encouraging and supporting your students to attend Shawsheen. We're so very lucky to have them with us, and we look forward to making this as smooth and positive a year as possible for each and every one. As their freshman counselor, I am available to help address any social, emotional, academic, family, friend concerns, you name it. Whatever comes up that could be disruptive or in any way, shape, or form interrupt the learning process or the comfortability of being in class or in school. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to walk with them, to be with them, to guide them, to help them navigate problem solving. please encourage them to come to the guidance office and encourage them to come to the guidance office. That communication that I have with the students directly is so very critical to the success. I can be a more effective guidance counselor if I can work with the students directly, but certainly that in no way wants to eliminate the direct communication that I will have with you as well. Many of you can probably already tell that I do respond pretty quickly, sometimes immediately, to emails. So if you ever need to reach out to me, please don't hesitate to send me an email and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. You're also welcome to call me anytime during the school day, and I'll certainly get my messages as quickly as I can and get back to you in that manner as well. But again, that self-advocacy piece is really the most critical way for me to stay in touch with the students, because I don't always know exactly what's going on in their heads unless they're sharing with me and opening up. And I will be reaching out to them, of course, to build relationships and to develop rapport as the next several weeks progress here at Shawsheen. I've had the pleasure of already meeting many of the freshmen, and I very much look forward to meeting the rest and get to know them all a little bit better. But I don't always know what they're going through or when they're struggling, and that's where you come in to help me as my eyes and my ears, and really encourage them to keep that communication line open with me. It's so much easier for me to be able to address a problem when I'm aware of it in the building, instead of later in the evening or the following morning. I want to be able to help and expedite things as best I can, but in order for me to really do that most effectively, I need to have that direct communication with the students. So I've already seen many of our freshmen demonstrate really strong self-advocacy skills, which I respect and admire, and hopefully as the year progresses, we'll see much more of that. In that same vein, I want to encourage all of our freshmen and also inform, of course, the parents and guardians of a few extra little tidbits that will be very helpful for them to experience success here at Shawsheen. One of those tidbits being extra help. Extra help is available every week, no matter what. Shop week, academic week, doesn't matter. It is available. Our teachers are phenomenal at providing extra help after school, and it is not a punitive measure. We realize that students don't particularly like to extend the school day with extra help. We understand that. We're very aware that many of our students at 2:04, they want to decompress for a little while, they want to take a break, and they don't want to jump right back into the books at 2:05. But for many of our students, it's really very helpful if they take advantage of that extra help that is provided on a daily basis after school. So if you could please encourage your students to stay after school for extra help if ever they need it. Our staff is always willing to support their needs during academic and shop week. If you check the class management plans that have already been shared with you, you can find out exactly when your sons and daughters teachers stay after school to provide that extra help. And you'll notice that every staff member stays a minimum of 2 days to give that support that they need. If for whatever reason the after school schedule just doesn't work out, many of our teachers are also available during the homeroom period, and it's usually recommended that appointments are made so they can schedule in advance to meet with their teachers during that homeroom time, as some of our teachers might have other responsibilities during that time. But again, that's another opportunity for our freshmen to check in with the teachers and make sure that they understand what's happening within the curriculum for any given class. The library is open after school for students to take advantage of, whether it's to do homework, research, study with peers, work on group projects, maybe even get some extra help in the library. So please know that we do have library hours after school, Monday through Thursday. Students can go to the library right after school until 5:15, and we really encourage that support. Ms. McGinnis is available to help them during the school day with whatever library resources they might need. She's an excellent resource for all of our students, but particularly with freshmen who are just learning the ropes a little bit, please take advantage of her being in the building as well. Buses are a huge tidbit because some people might say, well, you know, I can't pick up my child because I'm still working, or whatever the case may be. Bus transportation is available, and we're really very excited to say that not only one bus, but 2 late buses are offered to all of our students. So Monday through Thursday, there are actually 2 late buses. We have an earlier bus that picks the students up around 3:20, and then we have another bus that comes at 5:30. You might hear the second bus referred to as the sports bus, and the students refer to it as that sports bus because it's typically most beneficial for the student athletes who have practices late. But that in no way excludes anyone else from taking that bus. So if your son or daughter chooses to stay after school, do some homework, work on a project with a friend, get extra help, and then go up to the fitness center that is also available for our students to utilize after school, they can work out and then get that late 5:30 bus. So as you can see, we really try to provide as many resources and supports for our students as possible to take advantage of all of the academic support that they can, because we want our students to be successful. So by providing this additional transportation, that's one way of us showing you just how much we care about supporting your efforts in supporting our students. And then finally, I just want to talk briefly about the overarching theme this year for freshmen. Hopefully, some of the students may have brought home these stickers to show you, and you can see behind us we have our banners that represent the theme of our orientation program this year, the Resilient Rams. We talked a lot about choosing joy and becoming resilient. Every single one of us is resilient. We may not always realize it, but we do have those tools. We just don't always know exactly how to use them. So we're going to be focusing on that tool this year with all of our freshmen, because every single student in this building, you know, especially our freshmen, are transitioning into an environment that is new to them, and we want to help them acclimate and feel as successful as they can. But sometimes with everything that we've endured over the last 2 years, especially, anxiety still rears its ugly head, as does some depression or just, you know, social insecurities, perception issues. Again, whatever the case may be, we're here to support your children. So please dive into that communication piece with us. Reach out, call us, email us, encourage your children to stay in touch with their teachers via email, the chat messaging through the Teams, visit them during homeroom, make an appointment with me, leave me a note. We're available, we're accessible, and we want to help your kids succeed. So the bottom line really is, if you communicate with us and make us aware of what your needs are, then we will do everything in our power to support your children throughout this year and throughout their 4 years while they share their time with us at Shawsheen. So thank you so very much for being here with us, parents and guardians of the class of 2025. And again, a nice shout out to any of you freshmen who might be watching right along. It's really great to work with you, to be your guidance counselor, and I'm excited to continue this journey with you throughout the rest of the year. Mr. Albert, back at you.
Thank you, Ms. Caira. So with that being said, I'd like to dive a little deeper into the structures that we have in place to support our students. So, you know, when we think about vocational technical education and we think about academics, the third layer of that is sort of student services, which covers students who may learn differently, students who may have health and medical issues and require a different level of support. So with that being said, we have our nurses office. I'm really grateful to be able to say that we have a licensed nursing team here at Shawsheen that puts 110% in every day for students. We have Maggie Joyce as our lead registered nurse and her team working hard every day to make sure the nurse's office is set up, welcoming, and functioning for students who need our care. In addition, the nurse's office also handles medical issues that arise in the building, and they also maintain the health records that contain pertinent student information. This is a reminder to all of you parents and guardians out there. If you have not submitted updated medical information to the nurse's office, please send that in to us at your earliest convenience. We really appreciate your support in that. We just want to make sure that we have the best information possible to support your kids. We also have a COVID-19 space in the building for test and stay procedures and to handle all the requirements necessary to meet the protocols required. This area is called the medical waiting area, and it's across the hall from cosmetology. If you're outside of the building, it's in the area of the mall entrance of Shawsheen, and that is where we follow all of the protocols required of us around COVID-19. In addition to the nurse's office, we have layers of supports in place. So at our highest level of intervention, we have students identified as special education. These are the students who have individualized educational programs, or more commonly referred to as IEPs. We help students in a variety of learning challenges, students who have different abilities, and through a model of specialized instruction, we meet their needs here at Shawsheen. We also have students identified needing classroom accommodations, and those accommodations are met through a Section 504 accommodation plan. I am a Section 504 coordinator, and I've been organizing the list of students who have a 504 plan. After the first quarter, 504 meetings will be scheduled, so the Shawsheen team can go through the 504 eligibility process with you and draft a new 504 if necessary. So I know there were probably some questions about, like, how did my child's 504 plan transition to Shawsheen? And if you're not 100% sure if it did, please get in touch with our office so we can do a little digging on that and make sure that we have what we need. But for the most part, sending districts were very diligent in sending us the 504 plans that they had on your children. So we were able to enter them into our Aspen system here at Shawsheen. And now the goal for us is to get to know your kids, for them to get to know us, and then to sit down as a team and write a thoughtful plan. The other layer we have is we have our guidance office. And our guidance office is where my office is located. We have a team of 6 guidance counselors, and we have Angela Caira as our freshman guidance counselor. And then once freshman year is over and shop selections are made, your child will transition to a new guidance counselor for the remainder of their time at Shawsheen, and it is divided up by shop vocational technical area. Additionally, we have a school adjustment counselor located in the guidance office to support the counseling and mental health needs of students who need it on a deeper level.
Aspen is the parent portal that everyone by now should have received access to. If for whatever reason you are unable to log into Aspen or you haven't received the link to access your parent portal account, please be sure to reach out to me or to reach out to our Ed Technology department directly. All that information can certainly be found online. There is a ticket system to submit for our assistance, but if you can't get logged into Aspen in the first place, then your best bet is to just reach out to me and I can certainly forward your concern to the appropriate staff. We encourage you to utilize this tool throughout the year as grades will be updated regularly for all of the student classes. Their performance can be monitored from parents. for consistency purposes throughout the year to make sure that your children are doing their work, are completing their homework, you know, what is missing, what's coming up. Teachers are really pretty diligent about maintaining that site. So again, if you ever run into any issues or concerns with being able to access the account of your child so that you can stay up to date with the progress, please don't hesitate to reach out, because Aspen is really a great resource for you to pay attention to so that you know how your students are doing in the classroom on a daily and weekly basis. Attendance is tracked through Aspen, discipline is tracked through Aspen, and of course the progress and the homework is tracked through Aspen as well. Homework is assigned most likely daily for all of the major subjects that we offer here at Shawsheen, and on occasion your children will also potentially have shop week homework assignments. Those assignments could potentially be due during shop week or the following academic week. So again, you want to stay, you know, as up to date with your Aspen utilization as possible so that you're constantly aware of what the expectations are for your child during the course of each term. Never hesitate, though, like I said, to reach out if you stumble upon any concerns or problems in that regard. As far as attendance goes, you know, we can't stress it enough just how important attendance is here at Shawsheen. It's, you know, quite frankly, we know that attendance is important no matter where a child goes to school, right? And no matter what grade level a child is in, that time on learning is precious. But with Shawsheen, given that we have the week on, week off system in double block periods, once one day is missed and then maybe another day and another day, the work does accumulate pretty quickly. And it is the child's responsibility to stay in touch with teachers, to make arrangements to get caught up on any makeup work. I'm more than happy to request assignments to be sent home or to help facilitate the process. I've already done that quite a bit this year with many of our students, and I will continue in that role throughout the rest of the freshman year. But we really, again, want to encourage them to reach out to their teachers if ever they're absent, or if you anticipate absences, please reach out to me, because that communication to the teachers in advance is really quite helpful. We want to stay as proactive as we can. All of the absences are recorded in Aspen. If you're ever questioning whether or not your child should have not been absent or not tardy, please give us a call in the dean's office. We'll surely handle those matters for you in a swift fashion. You might be wondering, though, well, what happens if my child is out for an extended period of time? Again, we work with you on extensions and getting work done and caught up. We're very reasonable and very flexible if there should be extended absences for any given reason. We take into consideration all extenuating circumstances as they arise. However, we do require documentation to validate our absences, and not just a note from home saying my son or daughter was home today not feeling well. That prevents us from worrying about the truancy factor, but as far as validating an absence, we would need some documentation, whether it be from a physician or a therapist or maybe even court documentation. Certainly if there was a death in the family, then we would excuse absences for that reason as well. But the Dean of Students, and who is Christine Tobin, by the way, she and her staff are very diligent in making sure that they maintain frequent communication about attendance and behavior as well throughout the year. Mr. Shanahan is the attendance and behavior monitor. He'll be reaching out to you from time to time if your child is absent or accumulates frequent absences, because then we run into an ineligibility situation where your kids might not be able to participate in sports, they may not be able to attend certain school functions. So again, it really is very, very important that your child come to school every day and experience that time on learning that's provided. And you can monitor all of that through that Aspen parent portal. Naviance is another tool that we use, another really helpful resource for our freshmen that I'm not going to get much into tonight about, because I will be in touch with you as the year progresses to explain a little bit more about the Naviance database. But just for now, know that we take very seriously the career exploration part of the freshman year for obvious reasons, right? They're going through this exploratory program, and we really want them to help define what their skills and interests are. And in part of doing that is we have this Naviance program that complements the exploratory program that they're experiencing over the first 28 weeks of school throughout the 14 cycles. And through this Naviance program, they're going to be able to research a little bit more thoroughly, more in depth, what their career choices could be, what their interests are, where they align with each other through a series of inventories and questionnaires that they'll complete. That's not going to happen until a little bit later in the year, closer to winter or spring, but certainly it is going to happen, and I'll keep you abreast of all of those occurrences as they unfold during the year. Once students become sophomores and right through the end of senior year, portfolios are being built, and their upper class counselors, when assigned to their final placement counselor, will continue to work with them on Naviance in a variety of ways, again, to prepare them for post-high school options, whether it be career, military, or college. I think we're going to skip over to Mr. Albert again, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how you can access information for Shawsheen, and then we'll talk more about the exploratory process, because I think that's probably why a lot of you tuned in. But you also need to know how you can learn about Shawsheen, where you can find us, so on and so forth.
So we have many social media outlets in which you can access Shawsheen information, and one of the ways you can do that is through Facebook. We have our Shawsheen Valley Regional Vocational Technical School District Facebook page, and then on Twitter we have a Shawsheen District page, where you could learn about school closings and delays and district information. And then we have a Shawsheen Athletics page that will give you all of the athletic updates on Twitter. We also have on Twitter Shawsheen activities and clubs. We also have our home website, our home page, school webpage, shawsheentech.org, where you will find a variety of information. We are in the process right now of updating some features with Mr. Bendel that was here earlier on our website. There have been some changes, so we're in the process of making those changes so that we can provide you in the community with the most accurate information about Shawsheen as possible. So we really appreciate your patience with that. So now we want to talk to you a little bit about our exploratory cycles. So those of you that are in exploratory cycles right now, we hope you're enjoying your experience, and I know that's probably one of the distinct features of Shawsheen that makes transitioning a little more challenging sometimes, because students are coming from a 180-day academic routine to a week about schedule of 90 days of academics and really 90 days of a shop experience. And in the freshman year, they're experiencing not only 90 days of a shop experience, but it's all different shops based on their choices. So with that being said, students are going through 14 cycles this year. And with that, during that process, they will complete 2 shop surveys. They will complete a survey at the end of the 4th cycle, at the end of the 8th cycle. During the week of March 21st to 25th, there will be some group guidance sessions around the exploratory process and how students can go about making an informed decision based on their level of interest in shops, or vocational technical areas, I should say. So to give you a little breakdown on that timeline, on March 25th, and this will also come out to you via an email and on our website, but I just want to share with you in person. On March 25th of 2022, the selection forms are distributed electronically. So your shop choice selections are given out electronically. A few days after that, on March 27th, the forms will be due back here at Shawsheen. We take all that data, we compile it, and then on April 1st of 22, we really look for permanent freshman shop assignments to be posted in Aspen at the end of the day. Few days after that, on April 4th, students will actually begin their permanent shop placement. Shop schedule changes cannot be guaranteed, and placement in a first choice or top 3 choice cannot be guaranteed. With that being said, though, Shawsheen is striving to have as many freshman students as possible in Exploratory get their top choices. It's very important to us that we do that to the extent possible. It's just not 100% guarantee on that, and maybe Ms. Caira can speak a little more to that.
Many of you, thanks Mr. Albert, many of you have already reached out to me about scheduling changes for the exploratory cycles that your sons and daughters are scheduled to visit. For everyone who is unaware, we are always willing to accept change requests. However, we cannot always guarantee that those change requests will be accommodated. We are still in the process of completing some of the exploratory schedules, basically because we had so many students who are interested in specific shops, an overwhelming amount in some cases, and we're trying to map it out so that we'll be able to allow every student to see at least his or her top 3 to 5 shops guaranteed. In many cases, students see as many as their top 10 to 14 programs. But some of you might have noticed that there are some blanks in the scheduling process. We're well aware of it. We're working on it. Many of you, like I said, have already reached out to me, and I want to thank you for your incredible patience and support with regard to this effort. It is a magnificent effort, actually, in trying to get all of the students through the shops that they're most interested in, and we understand that your kids came here in many respects for a particular program. So we want to make sure that every child is able to visit the programs that are of priority to them. And we're consistently working on reshaping the cycles one week after the next. With that said, some of you may have gotten some phone calls from me last weekend or emails where there was shifting around, some juggling that had to take place to accommodate some capacity issues. If we ever run into a situation where a shop is over enrolled, and that very well could be the case for every cycle here on out, then we might have to make some off the cuff changes. And I apologize to all of you listening right now for any inconvenience that might cause. It's certainly not ever our intention to upset anyone or cause any frustration. Like I said, we want your children to be able to explore the shops that they're interested in, but we might have to make some changes along the way. So the holes will be filled. The top 3 to 5 will be guaranteed. Changes could potentially be made, but we'll always stay in touch and communicate with you what those changes are. So feel free to reach out to me, make whatever requests that you have. I just can't always guarantee that those requests will be accommodated. And again, I thank you in advance for the patience that you give me in trying to maneuver all of these moving parts to make it work for all 358 of our freshmen. I know that your son is the most important and your daughter's the most important. For me, they're all the most important. So we really want to make sure that we can make everyone as happy as we can. And I work collaboratively with several people in the school to that regard, Mr. Albert certainly being one of them, Mr. Norkowitz, the Director of Vocational Technical Programs, and Mrs. Lesko, the Assistant Principal. So we're all working diligently behind the scenes to make sure that your kids will see the programs that they want to see. Now, the part of this meeting tonight that's probably the most difficult to talk about is the shop placement piece. And any folks in the audience who have already had a son or a daughter go through Shawsheen knows that this is a really difficult and sensitive subject. And I'm sure everyone else can imagine just how difficult it could potentially be. Because like I said, students come here for a reason, right? We know that. We know that some students want to pursue the legacy of a family. We know that students want to carry on, the family business. Or students just have passions of their own that they've had since childhood or whatnot. And And we want to convey to you that we respect and appreciate all of that. And we know that that exists. We're not dismissive of that one bit whatsoever. But sadly, we are also up against capacity restraints. And especially with a class as large as we have this year, because there are so many viable candidates and we wanted to welcome everyone into the school, we cannot stress enough that students are not guaranteed a first, second, or third placement. And we need you to know that up front. And it's not because we don't want it to happen, but it's because it happens every year. And every year we have at least one parent who is absolutely devastated and just doesn't understand why it happened to his son or her son. And we share that disappointment with you. And if there was anything we could do to change it, we would, but it comes down to capacity. So your interest is rated first. If there is a shop that can only take 12 students, but 20 students are interested, the top 12 students will get into that shop. And by top 12, I mean the students who earn the highest grades will get into that shop. The remaining 8 students will be placed on a wait list and hopefully get into a second or a third choice. In some cases, there are students with extremely difficult circumstances that they wanted to get into 3 very competitive shops and they won't end up getting into any one of them. That happens every year. It's devastating every year. And as much as we try to avoid it, it happens. So that's why we can't stress enough just how important it is for your kids to approach every single cycle as if it's the first choice. Stay motivated and positive during every single cycle. Even if it's a shop that they're not particularly interested in, don't ever convey that to the teachers, because in the end, they are graded on their motivation. They're graded on their preparedness. They're graded on their safety. Did they wear their work boots? Did they dress properly? Did they wear their safety glasses? Were they spoken to because they were misbehaving at any point in time during the week? All of that is taken into consideration with our grading rubric. Was their homework done? All of these things matter in the end. It's not just about the aptitude, and it's not just about the skill, though that's certainly taken into consideration as well, obviously. But our teachers want students who are interested, engaged, and willing to learn. We don't expect any student to come in here already knowing any one particular trade inside and out. That would be unfair, obviously. They're novices. They're brand new to many of these fields. We want students to fully engage and to show just how committed they are to the learning process so that they will be teachable, so that they will be employable by the end of their senior year. Okay, so please encourage your students to participate with 100% positivity during every shop, even if students aren't particularly thrilled about the programs they go through. Because just because your child gets a 94 in a shop, it doesn't guarantee placement as a first choice. Even if your child gets a 95 in every single one of his or her top 3s, it does not guarantee placement into one of those top 3s. This is hard information to hear, and believe it or not, it's really difficult information to share. Do not come to school every day wanting to upset or disappoint, certainly not make kids cry when it comes to final placement. And inevitably, I know that that is something that I'm up against every year, and it's the worst part of my job as a freshman guidance counselor. So whatever we can do to make sure that our children are choosing shops that are most appropriately suited for them for all of the right reasons, let's do that collaboratively. So then we'll hopefully eliminate some of the disappointment and frustration once placement time is upon us.
Thank you for sharing that so candidly, Ms. Caira. I think it's sometimes it's hard to hear, but it's very important information. And she's right. You know, we are here to celebrate students and to celebrate their growth and their interests. And you know, we are going to do everything in our power to make it a pathway for them to be in a shop of their interest. So just know there are those outlier situations where we have to make the tough phone calls and have those situations. We appreciate your attention and your time this evening. What we have a little bit time left now to have a question and answer session. So I think at this time we will take questions from our support person in the room.
Hi, I received a couple of questions. One of the questions are certain shops that are typically hard to place or get placed in.
You know, I'm really glad someone asked this question, actually, because it varies every year. Yes, we have some extremely competitive shops, but I'm not kidding you when I tell you it varies. Typically, the construction cluster draws a wait list every year. Historically, it draws a wait list every year. Sometimes our life science shops are very popular and draw wait lists. Each shop differs in capacity, so the wait lists vary in size because, you know, smaller shops might draw a larger wait list, and larger shops, you know, a smaller one. But I would say every year there are definitely some shops that are very competitive to get into. I am reluctant to really say which shops they are because it changes so frequently. And, you know, last year is the perfect example. There was a program that the year prior didn't carry a wait list at all. In fact, it didn't even fill up entirely. And this, in the following year, it carried a wait list of 7 students. So things shift around so much that it's really hard for me to say, yes, this is going to have a wait list. It would be premature at this point in September for me to make a definitive, give you a definitive answer. But I am glad that you asked the question because wait lists are very common in many of our programs. And certainly stay in touch with me throughout the duration of the year if you do have some concerns about whether or not your son or daughter has a really great shot at getting in or not so good shot. Just as a disclaimer, though, I can never and will never tell you if your child will definitively get in or will not definitively get in. I wish I was blessed with that crystal ball, and I wasn't. I just don't know because there's a range every year of how much interest there is in any particular program. So for one program, the cutoff grade could be in the high 70s or low 80s, whereas another program, the cutoff grade could be 98 or 99. And I'm really not trying to talk around the question at all, but I just want to make it very clear that there is the potential for any given shop on any given year to carry a wait list. Typically, the construction shops are very difficult to get into, and I'd be more than happy to talk with anyone individually about your child's situation in any program, but without guaranteeing one answer over another.
Thank you, Ms. Caira.
Welcome.
Another question is all homework posted in Aspen? And if not, is there a location parents can see all the homework assignments?
Homework and assignments are typically posted in Aspen. You can access it through the parent portal, and teachers are also very open to receiving email communication. So if you're ever questioning or concerned about the upcoming assignments or what might be past due, never hesitate to reach out to our staff because they're very very appreciative, quite frankly, of the communication from home because they want that family engagement piece to be intact throughout the year. So never hesitate to contact them if you suspect that maybe something might be missing from Aspen, but typically things are posted in a regular fashion. So please feel free to reach out to them if you question that something might not be quite up to date, but usually you will find all of that information in the parent portal.
Do academic grades play a role at all in the student getting one of their top choices?
Great question, and the answer is no.
No.
There is a related piece that is the academic piece, I will say, that's embedded into the shop experience, and that's where the academic theory and research and homework piece really come into play as far as their overall rubric and grading for the exploratory program. But I know that the question was more so referring to math, science, history, civics, digital literacy, EOS, English, all those classes, and the answer is no.
Can you go over who to contact if I'm having trouble accessing my Aspen parent portal?
I think the easiest thing to do at this point would just be to contact me. So send me an email, Caira, that's spelled CAIRA @shawtech.org, and I will forward your request.
One of the questions was, what is the best way to contact Ms. Caira?
There you
so
go.
I think you
There
just
it is.
answered that.
And email is the best way. Email is the best way. Feel free to call me. All my information is on the website, but email is certainly the best way.
And there's quite a few. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for being so positive.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Happy to do it.
Oh, actually, one just popped up.
Sure.
Do students choose their top 3 choices in March, or are you going to by the choices they picked on their original application to Shawsheen?
What a great question.
Yep.
So the first time they choose their shop choices on that original list, that's just to gain their interest areas. But as the year goes on, we really try to have kids make an informed choice. So the choices they make in March are the ones that will count.
Okay, I don't see any other questions.
Great.
Well, all you parents and guardians out there, I really wish that, my hope is that we could have met in person, but we're still we're all battling this pandemic and, trying to keep, mass contact to a minimum. But we really appreciate those of you. If I look on here, I think at one point we had up to, 126 people logged into us to sort of see what was happening this evening. So we really appreciate the time you took to join us, your attentiveness. As I can see, we still have 110 people watching us. So we really appreciate the time. And we hope we were able to answer some of your questions around the inner workings of Shawsheen. And please know to never hesitate to reach out to us for anything at any time. It's what we're here for. And we look forward to working with your kids over the next 4 years and really seeing them blossom and grow. So thank you very much and have a great evening.
Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.